Hello, welcome to our video on building your personal trading strategy. My name is Rob Reinhold. I've been a professional trader since 1997, and Maverick Trading is a US-based prop firm that specializes in options trading. Now, this video is going to be really an overview of what it is you're trying to accomplish as a trader.
Attention! This video is for informational purposes only. Maverick Trading is a US-based prop firm that specializes in option and equity trading. If you want to become a professional trader for a firm that backs you with capital, apply now.
The first thing I need to start out with is the fact that traders aren't born. There has been zero people that have just got into trading and were immediately good at it. Some people got lucky for a little bit, but by the end, everyone has to go through the same process. We have a saying at Maverick: traders aren't born, traders are forged. What forged means is that you put steel into fire and it gets hammered and it gets scorched. And when you do that, the iron comes out harder and more durable. Every single person has to go through the process that I'm about to go through. There are no shortcuts. You all have to go through it. It is a step-by-step process to become a trader. You have to start at the beginning. There are no shortcuts here. You have to first off build your trading plan, figure out how you're going to do risk management, how you're going to implement everything. So this video, I wanted to go over kind of what it is you're trying to accomplish. The very first thing that you're trying to accomplish is your strategy. There are thousands, maybe more than thousands of ways to make money as a trader. Are you going to trade stocks? Are you going to trade options? Is it going to be Forex? Is it going to be crypto? Are you going to be a trend trader? Are you going to be a reversal trader? There's so many ways you can make money, but how are you going to make money? That's the only thing you care about. You are going to pick something. The question is, does it work? Does it produce an edge? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to talk about backtesting. Once you can get something backtested and it shows that you can get an edge in the markets, then all of a sudden we can talk about live trading. But until you get a strategy that at least shows you have a potential to make you profit, you should not risk any money at all whatsoever in the world of trading. Now, the first thing that we have our traders start out with at Maverick Trading is we have our traders take a trading personality test. We actually released this to the public a few years ago. We had it internally for well over a decade, where our traders came in. The first thing they did was take a trader personality test. It's based on the Myers-Briggs personality system and basically says, okay, this is who you are. Instead of trying to change who you are to fit into the world of trading, you actually want to design your trading system to fit who you are as a person. It's much easier to change your trading strategy than it is to trade who you are. And some of the things we talk about is stop fighting your nature. If you are a high energy individual like myself, I'm an extrovert. Extroverts always overtrade, always, every single time. And I remember telling myself, Rob, don't be an idiot. Stop overtrading. It's not that hard. And guess what I kept doing? Overtrading. And I beat myself up. When I finally realized, Rob, this is you. You're never going to fix this. All of a sudden, I said, how can I adjust my trading plan to actually fix this deficit? That was a game changer. So we have our traders start right off the bat, getting a personality test and seeing what it is. We put this trading personality test out on a website. I'm going to put a card in the top right. It is traderpersonalitytest.com. You can go there and take the test for free and get your results. As I said earlier, you need to figure out how you are going to make money as a trader. There's lots of people out there telling you, do this, look how much money I made here. You know what? None of that's going to work because you can't trade like me. You can't trade like someone else. We all have different personalities. Some things are going to be more comfortable for you than me, and I won't be comfortable doing it the way you do it. You have to figure out your strategy. And that's really going to be three main things: time frame, trading style, and how much risk you're willing to take. Those are the three main things that you really need to determine. First thing is time frame. Are you going to be shorter term? Are you going to be medium term? Again, all these things are just arbitrary titles. Like swing trader, they say, oh, swing trader lasts from a couple days to a couple weeks. These definitions were made up to try to build categories. Look, really ignore these little titles, but you have to figure out, okay, are you going to make a few trades a day? Are you going to make a few trades a week? Are you going to make a few trades a year? How is it that you are going to make money? And use your personality score to help you figure this out. Extroverts, strong extroverts, typically do better when they're more active. Strong introverts typically do better when they're a lot more focused and take less trades. And then you really have to figure out your trading style. And there's so many different styles. I'm just going to talk about 3 major disciplines. This is really only in directional trading, and there's a whole world of non-directional trading you can get into in options. But you could either be a trend follower. It's what we really like in Maverick trading is trend following. All of the studies have shown that there is an edge to be had in trend following, but maybe you want to be a reversal person. Maybe you want to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get in when things are weak on the long side and short when things are on the strong side. We don't love that style, but again, you can decide to do that. And I know that there are traders out there that make a really good living doing it. You could be range bound. You have to figure out, again, how are you going to make money? And you really need to develop and build your strategies. And your strategies are basically going to be a checklist of all the things that have to happen before you enter a trade. These things need to be clearly detailed. We tell all of our traders, when you are developing your setups, you have to think like a computer programmer. Because I have people say, well, I'm going to buy it if it goes above support. If you need to program that into a actual algorithm, what does above mean? Is that 1 cent above? Is that 0.5% above? What does above mean? You have to quantify every single thing. And if you do it correctly, in the end, you should be able to turn that into an actual algorithm that can run without you even watching. That's how you want to develop these strategies. This is something that is going to take you possibly years to develop. There's going to be a lot of testing on this. This is where most of the work is as a trader. Everyone thinks you can just jump in and start clicking buttons. No, this is where all your work is going to be. You need to first of all even understand, do you have a chance of making a profit with the way you're going to trade? You have to know this before you even risk any money. You've got to know your numbers. You got to know, okay, what if I did this? Is it going to make these numbers better or worse? And then you have to figure out, how am I going to implement it? This really comes down to backtesting. Now, what backtesting is, it's where you basically look at your strategy, you've built it, and then you get a large sample size of tons and tons of charts, thousands of charts, and you say, if I would have followed these rules in my system, would I have made a profit over time? That's basically all the backtesting is. Now, you need to make sure that you have enough time, and you also want to backtest in different conditions. What happens when markets crash? What happens when markets rise? What happens when they go flat? Basically, backtesting is where you're going to see, do you have an expected return? When I first started out, backtesting was barbaric. This was in 1997. I had to print out charts, cover to the right with a black piece of paper, and move the paper slowly and mark where I would have bought. And then I would write that down in my journal, and then I'd write where I would sell. And I'd move this piece of paper slowly until I got a couple practice trades. And then I'd go to another one. It took me so many hours to backtest. Now, use software. Use software to backtest. I'm going to throw a few of these up here: NinjaTrader, TradingView, TradeStation. It's too difficult. It takes too much time, and there's so many wonderful software tools that can help you out in the world of backtesting. And what you're really trying to do is you're trying to find out your trading numbers. Until you have your trading numbers, you have no idea if you're going to make any money or not. And in fact, I would bet against you that you won't make any money as a trader. I'm going to bet that you lose money if you don't have these trading numbers on you. You need to know your win-loss, you need to know your profit factor, and you need to know your max drawdown, because that's going to help you determine what your position sizing strategy is going to be. So again, the first part of trading is developing systems, backtesting systems, looking at the trading numbers, and then figuring out how can I make these numbers better. At Maverick, we really like using AI for this. This has been one of the greatest helps in my life. I'm kind of glad that I had to do it by hand at first back in the day, but now no one should do it by hand. AI is an awesome way to go in and do this very quickly. So again, you can test your trading strategies, but you do need to know how to collect enough data for it to be meaningful. Data is sometimes very difficult to get. You have to feed AI the data you want. It's just not readily available for you to go out and say, hey, what were my returns from 2010 to 2020? You literally have to give it the data that you want it to measure here. So again, I don't have time to go through how to do this, but this is an overview of what it's going to take. At the end of it all, you're going to have your trading numbers. Once you have tested this strategy or multiple strategies, and you have numbers that you're confident with, then it's time to demo trade. There are some strategies when you put them into action real time, they just don't work as well. So you need to demo test it and make sure, does this work in a live situation? During that demo trading, you're going to be journaling. If you are not willing to journal, then I'm going to go say you are not willing to do what it takes to be a professional and profitable trader. That's just it. That is totally my opinion. But if you don't journal, I don't see how you could possibly develop a system that's going to have an edge. You have to track your trades. Now, again, there are plenty of software platforms out there where you can go and just use their journaling system. It's really nice, really easy, or develop your own. This to me is a non-negotiable thing. You must journal because how are you going to make your system better? How are you going to improve if you don't journal? You don't even know. You don't even know what market conditions you have the best returns in or not. It's just, to me, non-negotiable. When are you ready to go for live capital trading? Well, when you can replicate your backtesting results in a live demo account over a long period of time. Now let's talk about long period of time. I don't expect you to demo trade for 25 years. I also expect you to demo trade for more than 25 days. I don't think 25 days is a decent amount of time. You will know. You will know when you think you are ready, and at that point, then you're ready to talk about implementation. Now you're ready to implement your system. How are you going to do it? There are going to be 3 basic ways. You can be discretionary. Now, a discretionary trader is how I started out in the business. When I started out in the business, there were no such things as stop orders. You had to have a manual stop in your head. Manual stops are very difficult to use because a lot of times your brain doesn't want you to get out. So a discretionary trader is purely discretionary. And basically, I think this is a bad way to go, especially with all the technology we have. People who are discretionary traders, they sit in front of their screens and they screen watch, and they think, and they overreact, and they make terrible decisions. You can go to a fully black box, fully automated trading system. I don't love this one as well because I think there's a lot of nuance that's lost in a black box system where a lot of times the market might not be exactly what you want your system to look for, but there's no way for your system to know that. At Maverick, we really like the middle one, the assisted one, where basically the entry is manual and then everything after that is automated. Why is that? Because the exit is where all the emotions are. The exit is where all the mistakes are typically made as a trader. People are really good at getting in where you're using your prefrontal cortex of your brain. Once money's on the line, they've actually done studies where when people put money on the line in gambling and in trading, you stop using your prefrontal cortex for decisions and you start using your in solo, whereas the fight or flight response. You're literally not even using the right part of your brain. So you have to figure out how are you going to actually implement this. We like the assisted one where manual entries, automated exits. We think that's the best way to go. And of course, keep journaling, keep improving for the rest of your life. Now look, I know I didn't go into anything in real big detail, but that wasn't the objective of this video. I wanted to give you an overview of what it's going to take for you to develop your trading system. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.
Maverick Trading releases daily videos on market commentary and potential trades. Check out our latest